This is Jason Hatfield, and you're listening to Sean and Chris on the Geeks Talk Back podcast.
By the power of Grayskull,
we're sending you back to the future.
Go! Okay, man, let's turn and burn.
Force is strong with this one.
The plaque for the alternate is down in the ladies' room.
You can't be here! It doesn't make sense for you to be here! I refuse to believe that you are here!
Doc, I am here, and it does make sense. Look, I came back to 1955 again with you, the you from 1985, because we had to get a book from Biff. So once I got the book back, that is the you from 1985, we're in the DeLorean, and it got struck by lightning, and you got sent back to 1885.
1885! It's a very interesting story, Future Boy, but there's just one little thing that doesn't make sense. If the me of the future is now in the past, how could you possibly know about it?
You sent me a letter. And now, a feature presentation. Oh, very well. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Get ourselves some snacks.
But is it possible for you to go back to the exact moment? Because then you run into the problem of multiple. Like, I literally don't think, the concept from Back to the Future again, where he leaves at, whatever time in 1985, he goes back to 1965.
Mm-hmm.
How would you be able to come back at the exact instant that you didn't? Or that you left, I'm sorry.
You lost me on your depth there.
Okay. So he leaves, say you left, or Marty McFly leaves 1985 at midnight on the dot.
Okay.
He goes back to midnight in 1965. Does whatever shit he does in
55?
Whatever, 1955. I don't remember what the dates are.
It was 55.
Okay. It was fucking November 21st, 19 something. I don't know.
55.
So, I don't think, and then they run into the problem of multiple people, the same person in the same time. Not so much Marty McFly in 1955 because he wasn't born yet, but you have the second Doc Brown.
Right.
And then in one of the movies, when he goes back, he leaves, and then Doc freaks out because Marty's back and he just sent him back to the future. You know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah.
Okay, so how, with that concept, how could you go back in time and then show up at the very instant that you left? I don't think that would be physically possible.
No, and why wasn't there two Martys then when he came back?
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
You're wrecking the movie for me.
I know.
Damn.
Because it doesn't say, I mean, I'm sure if we go back and watch the movies, it has a time. Because I know there was digits, there was the month, the day, the year,
right.
And then there was a time.
Yeah, but
how would you be able to coordinate that to go back to 1955 and then come back to 1985, the very instant that he had left, so that there's only one Marty McFly back in 1985?
he wouldn't. In fact, he actually came back early and actually saw.
Yeah.
So there actually was two Martys. Wow. I don't know.
I don't think you could do it.
No, I don't think you could.
Because they only talk about that concept in the past. And then they explore the concept when they go Back to the Future 2, where they go to the future when they go to 2015, because there's the whole Jennifer and seeing herself, and she freaks out, and Doc's like, oh, well, I guess it didn't destroy the space-time continuum, and we're still alive, so that's good.
And they never went and picked her up, but somehow she still existed.
Yeah.
Back in the original time again.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was still passed out on the porch.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't think you could get down to the millisecond, or
but
you'd have to go sub-millisecond to the exact.
But if you did,
right there.
But if you did, there'd still be two of you right there.
Yeah, be like, hey, what's up? You know, I don't think that's where I don't think. I think that, again, this is all theory, but if you could go back to a point in time, I don't think you would ever be able to come back to the current time that you left. I think you would. It would basically be a one-way trip.
Yeah, a one-way trip, or it'd be a parallel universe. It might be
depending on what you changed. Yeah.
Or if you change nothing, you come back.
Well, even if you change nothing, I don't think using the example that I go to Texas in 1750.
No. Let's say you change nothing and you come back to the present. Everything's exactly the same. There still be a parallel universe. Two of the same. Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have November 21st, 1985. You wake up in bed when you've got the the piece of shit car and Biff's your dad's boss and everything else. And you also have the current timeline you're going through you got the 4-wheel drive in the garage and then your dad's an author and everything else.
And that's because he altered.
Right. But if he went back and changed nothing and it came right back again, there would be two parallel universes of Biff's your dad's boss and everything else. So
one where you existed in 1980 or whatever year.
So you wouldn't come back to exactly the same time in the same timeline, the same universe. No. You'd be at the same time, the same point, in the same parallel universe.
Yep. But I think there would also still be two of you there.
Well, no. I was saying, so you'd have the line where you started from, and the line where you came back. Mm-hmm. You changed nothing, okay, yeah. So there's two lines going.
But that first line technically doesn't exist anymore from the point that you went back in time.
To you, it doesn't.
To me, it doesn't.
Correct. Because you're on your path.
Yeah.
And then you have the changed one to where everything after that point in time in 85 or 55 when your parents still hooked up, which still have the same house and the same kids, just better off, which is weird. But so you have the new 1985, but the old one still exists. Mm-hmm. But from your point of view, it doesn't, which is why Marty woke up and couldn't figure out what the hell's going on because he remembered everything else. Right? Yeah. Everything else since changed. Yeah. Which is weird because you think you'd wake up and you'd remember everything that happened and everything that changed. You remember your dad being an author and everything else.
That's the problem is that there should have been a different Marty McFly there in that parallel universe along with him.
Yeah, so he would have changed to his environment growing up.
Would you, though?
No, well, he would have because...
It would have been a parallel him. But it wouldn't have been him.
I know, but it wasn't a parallel him. It was old him in a new timeline.
Yeah. I don't think you could do that.
No, it would be a different him.
Yeah. It would be a different him.
I think we're agreeing.
We're agreeing, but not agreeing.
But no. We're agreeing, but we're arguing about it.
Yes, we are. Okay. But then, so in the movie, where was the Marty McFly that lived? Oh, really?
Sorry.
Really?
Anyway,
back to it. So there should be a Marty McFly in the second parallel universe that experienced everything from his parents hooking up, his dad being an author, getting the bomb-ass 4-wheel drive Toyota, all that shit. So where is he?
Exactly, he doesn't exist.
But he would have had to have existed. Because
I agree, but he doesn't. So basically we have...
So Back to the Future dropped the ball and we need to riot in this bitch.
No, I'm not gonna blaspheme Back to the Future. No, there should have been a Marty McFly that grew up,
in that world.
Yeah, with his dad being an author.
Yeah.
Basically, the whole new world should not have been a surprise to him.
Correct.
But you have Marty McFly, before he left, reacting to the life now.
Yeah.
Where he should have woken up in, another day.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, that's kind of the fantasy and the whimsy of the Back to the Future movie is that, everything sucks. You meet an old man in the parking lot at midnight at the mall and everything gets better.
They usually have candy.
Yeah, in a van.
Or there's a van that says free candy, but there's no candy.
Right. But, if you learn anything from the movie is that if an old man tells you to meet him at the mall at midnight, you go.
You fucking meet him at the mall.
Yeah, you go.
A fucking skateboard and a video camera.
But
that and don't borrow uranium from terrorists.
Yeah,
because they're gonna fuck you up.
I can't find any still shots of that movie, but I heard somewhere that the license plate actually says the Libyans
on the VW bus.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
There's another conundrum for you.
What's that?
Okay, so Marty McFly runs back to the mall parking lot. Mm-hmm. just as current Marty McFly jumps into the DeLorean and leaves.
Right.
Hold on, I gotta combobulate all my thoughts together. I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to.
Like derailed.
So anyway, the point of the story, basically, what I'm trying to articulate is how the future was affected because Doc Brown read the note and put on the bulletproof vests and didn't get killed.
Right.
So basically, they are completely altering.
Well, not really, because they're altering everything after the fact, because
It, which hadn't existed yet.
Okay, because the only thing that really changed at that point in time was that Doc is now not dead. Marty still hopped in the door, and he still went back in time, and everything else still happened.
Okay.
So basically, Marty kind of changed the future.
Not the past.
Right. Because now, if you came back to, 11/21/1955, to the point where Doc got shot, okay, to you, he died.
85 is when Doc got shot.
What did I say?
55.
Okay, sorry, 85. And so you come back and now he's alive. That's the only thing that's changed. So it's really the future.
So realistically, it should be just one gigantic loop that they're slowly changing shit out at, because theoretically, Marty should have already come back in some alternate time or parallel dimension, because if it's just this big paradox loop.
Right. Well, no, I'm saying, but
so basically, at one point in time, Marty came back and Doc hadn't looked at the note and was dead. But we don't see what happens.
Yeah, well, so originally he gets shot and gets killed.
Yeah, he gets shot
but then he gets shot and he dies. Then Marty goes back in time. When he comes back, Doc gets shot.
Changed.
Now he's alive. Okay. So prior to him going back in time, nothing else has changed as far as him surviving. It's from that point on. So now, he comes back to 1985, and it's a world where Doc is alive as opposed to dead.
Yeah. Which hadn't happened yet, so he wouldn't have known.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have affected anything. But then, if Doc knew, why would he show up there?
Yeah. If he already knew, why would he still get the...
Right, but then again, if he didn't go there and...
Okay, but here's another concept. If you want to get way deep into it.
Oh, no.
You have 1985 Doc Brown. You have 1955 Doc Brown. 1985 Doc Brown, at some point in time, invents a time machine that Marty McFly takes back to 1955 and uses 1955 Doc Brown's help to fix the DeLorean,
right,
and get it to go back to 1985. If Doc Brown in 1955 gets all this more information about something he invents 30 years later, why did it take him another 30 fucking years to invent that thing in the fucking first place?
That's a good question, too. So, no, we are, in effect, blaspheming this movie now.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're trying not to.
Yeah.
Or I was trying not to, anyway. That's a good point.
Because think about it. If some dude shows up tomorrow and tells you, you're going to be fucking a genius, this is what you're going to do, but it doesn't happen until the year 2045. Why would you wait another 30 fucking years till 2045 to figure this out?
Unless it has to be that way. And you're extra careful to not do anything. But then again, how'd you not know, or how'd you know what not to do?
Yeah.
To further it. Mm-hmm. No, I think that would affect everything.
Yeah. I think the sheer act of you going back in time, regardless if you're in the middle of nowhere, and now I'm completely changing my point of view on it, because that whole me being in, I don't think you could go back to the same future at all, period. Even if you went back to because anything you did,
right,
would solely affect it, especially in the Back to the Future world, where he goes back to directly affect his own future.
Yeah. Well, let's say you go back to 1758, and then you run into George Washington. You tell him what's going to happen. there's going to be a new country, United States of America, and you're going to be the first president and everything else. I mean,
And he's like, "Fuck all that. I don't want that responsibility."
well, no, I'm not saying that he doesn't want that, but you tell him his future. I mean, wouldn't that?
That in and of itself is going to affect the future.
Yeah, exactly.
You tell Abraham Lincoln, "Hey, don't go to no fucking place." That's all you said.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah, you change anything.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point, though, about the
Dun, dun, dun.
whole flux capacitor thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And this is a real stretch, the only thing you could possibly argue is that Doc Brown, 1955 Doc Brown was limited by by the technology that existed in that time.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that almost become your focus. I mean, if you're trying to do the whole mind reading thing or the time machine,
yeah, you're going to focus on the time
machine.
machine.
You know that works because
Yeah.
you're told 30 years in the future that that's going to work.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to focus on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, the one idea or principle that makes it palatable is the parallel universe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back in time and then you told, let's say, George Washington that he was going to be the president of the United States, and everything else. Now, at that point in time, everything else from then on is going to be different.
Yeah.
But to you, it all happened.
Yeah.
So that's still intact. But everything else from that point on is now changed.
Different.
Am I boring you?
No.
Oh.
I'm fucking tired. I've been up since like 8:30 this morning, 8 o'clock this morning. So, and then we're done with that part, and then we also went on about how many DeLoreans there were.
Yeah, and I don't own the movies.
I don't either.
Which, I mean, I probably should, or I don't.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Star Trek, original series.
Okay.
It's called The City on the Edge of Forever.
Okay.
You ever seen that one?
Probably not.
The City on the Edge of Forever.
Okay.
Original Star Trek.
Okay. Old school.
Old school. So basically, the Enterprise is, going along, and they're by this planet, and all of a sudden they start getting all these, turbulence, I guess. Shit's going haywire in the ship, and Sulu's has a little command station, whatever, and like explosion, whatever. Now he's all knocked out. They bring in Bones, and he gives Sulu a shot of something.
Okay.
Brings him back. And then more turbulence, and then he ends up stabbing himself with a needle. He gets the whole dose, the entire vial of whatever it is, and goes fucking batshit crazy.
Bones or?
Yeah, Bones does.
Okay.
Yeah, because he gives him a shot and then jumps again and stabs himself. He goes down to the transporter room, transports himself down to the center of the cause of all this turbulence and all that. There's all these time ripples, whatever they're calling it. And they send down a away party. It's Spock and Kirk and Scotty and
2 or 3 red shirts.
there's 3 red shirts actually. There's 3 of them this time. Uhura was there too. And
so basically all your main crew.
yeah.
Yeah, that always made sense.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, the whole command staff. So they're down there and they find the, I think it was the Guardian of Forever. I think it was.
Okay.
Like a rock Stargate, sort of.
Okay.
And in the middle of the Stargate, you can see like a black and white loop of the history of the Earth.
Okay.
So you see the Romans on the chariots and all that, and you see like World War One and everything else. And it keeps going on and in this loop. Well, they go down looking for Bones because that's where he went. So they're talking to the Guardian of Forever, and he's telling them that this, that, and everything else about the he's the one that basically he guards time and well right in the middle of that, Bones goes and runs and dies right in the middle of the thing and goes back in time.
Okay.
And he goes back to the time, whatever time it was that was on the screen at the time. That's where he went back to.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they lose contact with the Enterprise. It never existed
Because now Bones.
because Bones changed something. So now they didn't. I mean, it's an amazing episode. At the same time, it's a really, really bad episode. Again, it's Star Trek. I'm trying to enjoy. I'm trying to appreciate it. But, it's hard for me though because it's Star Trek. But luckily, Spock was like recording right when Bones jumped through, so they're able to kind of see where it was.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirk asked the Garden of Forever to replay it again, and then Spock was able to calculate approximately when Bones jumped through. So basically, they're double dutching their way into the past.
They're like timed.
Yeah, you got time to
just when you get your hands out, and you're like, okay, here we go. All right, let's go.
Yeah, and they're able to calculate exactly, approximately when it was, and then they go, and then they're like, now. So they dive through. So they go back to, I think it was in the 1930s, and they end up obviously overdressed for the 1930s America.
Like you would.
Right. And they end up stealing clothes, running.
Considering Uhura is still wearing like a 1970s.
No, it was just Kirk and Spock that jumped through. The rest of them stayed there. So Kirk and Spock jump through, and they go back to the 1930s, and they steal clothing, and then they tell a cop that Spock is Chinese. He has some kind of accident for his ears, whatever. But they end up running from the police, and then end up in like the basement of some mission, like a soup kitchen sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then the woman that runs the mission, obviously it's some gorgeous woman that Kirk falls in love with, because
that's what he does.
I think it was in his contract.
And then he gets down.
Yeah,
every episode,
pretty much. But she ends up being some like a peace movement leader. Actually convinces Roosevelt to not enter World War II. Originally she died, but Kirk accidentally saved her life. So because she didn't die, she was able to convince Roosevelt to not enter World War II when he did. Therefore, the Germans got the bomb first. They ended up winning the war and everything else. So they kind of jacked everything up.
So we're talking about The Guardian, and they happen to be watching 1930s America on planet Earth, and they're in the middle of space somewhere fucked up.
Right.
And that's the only thing that exists. So he doesn't have other stuff to watch?
No, it was all of recorded history.
Well, I understand that, but that's you're talking about again. That's too narrow. History. Why would this Guardian be looking at it? Because it's recorded history. Mm-hmm. Why would he be looking at 1930s American Earth history when you have the Klingons and
okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Why was it on that channel? Why wasn't he watching, like the Romulans' greatest hits or some shit? Why did it have to be Earth?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying though?
Yeah, and actually it was all in Earth's history. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, but that's what the new Star Trek movies, the reboot, is basically dabbles into time travel and interdimensional time travel, because that's why the Kirk and Spock and all that is a different Kirk than at least the first one. It's completely different, and even when he goes and he finds Spock, the old Spock that went back in time with him, because in that one they just accept the fact that you can have two fucking Spocks.
I haven't seen the reboot.
Basically, the concept is that, or the story was, the original movies is that Captain Kirk's father was in Starfleet, was a captain and all this stuff, and had a great career, and then he was following in his father's footsteps. In the new movie reboots, basically his father dies as he was born.
Okay.
Was still on in Starfleet, was still on a space, or on a I don't even, not the Enterprise, but I think it was the USS Pike. But his father dies.
The Pike?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the original captain before Kirk?
Oh, you might be right.
No,
I thought it was the USS Pike.
Yeah, I was saying, but before Kirk, Pike was the captain.
Anyway, I don't remember. But anyway, so something gets fucked up. Spock gets chased by this guy named Nero, who's on this basically warpath because he couldn't save his planet. He's a Romulan, and they get sucked through this interdimensional deal, and they come out, and basically this giant Romulan, they call it a mining ship, but it's this behemoth of a ship, mm-hmm. and it destroys the ship that Kirk's father was on. Actually, his mother and him Well, his mother and his father, she's pregnant with him and gets off on a escape pod, has Kirk as his dad is basically saying goodbye and tries to crash the ship into this big Romulan ship. Well, then it completely changes everything, but yet somehow Kirk still ends up as a Starfleet commander and all this shit. So, but they basically at the end of the movie they accept the fact that they don't worry about this interdimensional, basically time space being destroyed by two people meeting each other or the same person meeting each other, because at the end of the movie you see the current Spock and the future Spock. It's Leonard Nimoy. It was a throwback. He was in the movie too as Spock, and then the new guy, I don't remember what his name was, but they have a moment at the end of the movie, because during the movie the entire planet of Vulcan is destroyed, and basically Spock there's only a handful of Vulcans left now.
Okay.
And basically Spock says, no, you need to stay here. Old Spock says, you need to stay here, with Kirk. You guys become really good friends, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I got to go do my Vulcan thing to, basically stabilize the Vulcan culture again. So
Interesting.
So, yeah, some different movies deal with it differently.
Yeah. Well, Captain Pike was the captain in the pilot episode.
Oh, okay. And
so I guess it was...
Now that I think about it, he might have been the captain of the Enterprise when the movie started.
Well, either way, it was just a kind of like an Easter egg or whatever. But, there's actually not episode 4. It was Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, where they actually went back in time also.
Did they go back in time in that one?
Yeah, they went back to modern time, or our modern time. Because there was that vessel that came and opened up and then talked to the whales.
That's right.
The whales were extinct.
Yeah.
So it had to go back into 1980s.
Yeah.
And take 2 blue whales or humpback whales, whatever it was.
It's been such a long time.
Yeah, the humpback whales, and then take them back to the future. And then it talked, and then they talked back, and okay, everything's cool, and then left. So there was time travel in the original.
Yeah. Well, it's been explored in a multitude of different ways. I mean, what was that? Not Loopers. Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good show.
That was a good show. Is Doctor Who a time traveler, or is that different dimensions? I think it's both.
Well, it's time travel.
Okay.
The TARDIS, that's what that stands for. It's time and relative dimension in space.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a big Doctor Who fan.
I'm not a really big fan either. That's...
The fact that you knew that, I knew what the TARDIS was. I didn't know what it stands for. Damn. Geek cred just went up a minute.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, so I think we're kind of at the end of this subject or this episode, but the question for you is, if time travel did exist, when would you go back to? What would be...
When would I go back to?
Yeah.
Only one place?
Or
one time?
If you could pick one time to go back to, basically somebody shows up and says, "Hey, I got a time machine. It's got one trip."
Would I be able to come back? Or
yeah. Let's say you could go see something and come back.
And it's just as an observer, I couldn't
change. Just as an observer, you can't change nothing.
I couldn't change anything
because if we're gonna have that conversation, this podcast is gonna be like another 3 hours long. Just all you can do is you can go back, you can see something cool, and then come back.
It's one thing, huh?
One thing.
Just as an observer, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you pick just one thing.
I don't either.
What do you got?
I ain't got nothing.
Just one time.
I mean, without any, really thinking about it, because it would be cool to see a couple of different things. I'd like to go see, because I didn't get the opportunity to go see the original Star Wars in
I
theater.
was going to say that too, damn it.
Yeah, the original Star Wars in the theater when it first came out.
May 25th, 1977.
That's right, since it just passed.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that too. I was trying to think of something more...
historically significant.
Yeah, exactly. Like the signing of the
Yeah.
Constitution or something, but...
if you could go back and change something, I'd say kill Hitler, or stop JFK from being shot, or, but...
Yeah.
Problem is, you don't know how that would affect
everything else. Exactly, yeah. But if you go back and couldn't change anything, would not seeing, let's say, Columbus set sail, or not seeing, the Declaration of Independence being signed, or not seeing, the moon landing. I mean, would that really change anything?
No, not really.
But to actually go see Star Wars for the first time, actually experience everyone else experiencing it at the same time too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Because I didn't see that one in the theater. I didn't see Empire in the theater. Yeah. But it's only a one-time shot, though, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but if you could pick.
Yeah, no. I have, thought about going back in time and, buying all the Star Wars toys.
Keep them mint?
Yeah, get all the vinyl cape Jawas you can find in the stores and just...
I've always thought about that, too, where you go back and you're like, you basically the sports almanac fucking theory.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, oh, I should totally go back in time, fucking buy up all the goddamn fucking Apple stock I can get my hands on. Yeah. Something like that. Mm-hmm. But then again, they would look at our money and be like, that's not money. So how would you...
I thought about that too. It had to be something that transcends time and go back and have gold or something.
See, but the only problem with gold is you're buying
the value. The value. Then,
you're buying gold at $350 an ounce now,
right?
And you go back and it's worth like $30 an ounce. So it's like, I mean, you could still theoretically do it if you had enough capital.
But if you have a time machine, check this out. You have a time machine. Mm-hmm. Have that as your getaway car, and rob a bank.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, again, if you're jumping time, you're going to lose value.
No. You rob the bank and get the 1985 or whatever, 1972, where you go back in time and get that cash.
You could. Because that cash is still good today.
Well, no, because you use that money in that time.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Go back to 1976.
So you use the time machine, go back to 1985, steal the cash, go disappear.
Yeah. So basically, you get say you got $100,000 in 1976 currency. Mm-hmm. Just use that in 1977, right, 78, and on, and buy all the Star Wars merchandise back then. And then you bring it back to 2016. You've got 1978 Star Wars figures,
vintage,
that are actually absolute mint condition because they're still brand new. Because to them, they've only traveled 3 seconds, but they're actually 40 years old.
That's interesting. Okay, so if you could go into the future, what year would you go? How far in the future?
I think I want to go to the future.
No,
because it make you feel how crappy shit is now. Right now, everything's amazing because it's all we know.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, oh man, this is 50 years from now. I won't have to walk anymore. The motorized sidewalk, whatever. It'd be the same as if you went back in time and didn't have your iPhone. You didn't have the internet.
Fuck this place.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be the same thing. If you went to the future, saw the future, and came back, as if you went back, 50 years, don't have the internet, don't have the smartphone, I don't have, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I've always thought about that too, but if you, say you took your iPhone with you, the infrastructure wouldn't be there for you to even use it.
No, I'm saying you wouldn't have that. So I'm saying, so you back in time, all the stuff that you wouldn't have that you have now.
Yeah.
Be the same as you went to the future and it came back. All the stuff you had then you won't have now.
What else you got?
Oh, I think that's about it. I think we waxed way above our level. I don't think we had any business even talking about this. And
no.
It was fun. We definitely did not catch lightning in the bottle because, I still, think about the conversation we had. Like, wow, that was really amazing.
It was.
And I don't have the feeling right now.
No, it wasn't. We got way into it, and I think it's probably because we're on the spot. But yeah, it was a lot better conversation. But again, we weren't recording and
time traveling,
and I can't find the picture of the whiteboard if we even have it. But it was, at least that was the inspiration for us to do this. So
yeah. So if nothing else, the memory of that is our inspiration.
So,
but. Did have one more thing to address real quick. In our last episode of our Top Gun F-30, Now, we have a trivia contest. Okay. So anybody out there listening that heard our last episode, the first one to answer this question will win a prize worth dollars.
Multiple dollars.
Maybe multiple dollars.
We figure shipping.
A few dollars, whatever else. Either way, it's an amazing prize.
It is. It is a good prize.
Anyway, the question that I thought was, what way did Maverick not honor the memory of Goose? Anybody that listened to that last episode
will know exactly
will know the answer.
We'll know the exact answer.
So the first one to answer on Twitter wins the prize worth multiple of dollars.
You want to tell them what it is?
No.
I think we should tell them what it is.
No, it's going to be a surprise.
Okay. But the only thing is if you do win, you have to send us a picture when you get it.
Yes.
You want a picture of it so we can show everybody else.
Absolutely.
So
once again, what way did Maverick not honor the memory of Goose?
Go listen to the Top Gun episode. You'll get it.
It's not a hard question.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, tell you right now, if I go back in time, I'd go back in time and not do this episode.
Why?
It's not good. I don't know.
No, if we could go back in time, we would go back in time, sneak a recorder in to our conversation about...
Okay, there you go.
See?
And then actually save this episode.
Yeah, save this episode.
So we would actually Marty McFly this episode.
We would.
We had Doc Brown this bitch.
That's right.
Okay, and I think with that, we'll sign off. I'm Sean.
I'm Chris.
And we are the Geeks Talk Back.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
The Force will be with you, always.